Today, West Ham United kick-started their 2025-26 campaign in the pre-season against that well-known famous team, Grasshopper. A 3-1 victory over them saw West Ham get underway for the new season with no new signings. One new signing, beg your pardon, on show for West Ham. We will be looking to make significant additions to the squad before we head up to the Stadium Elite in just under a month's time. Could those additions be in the form of Cole Peters or Harvey Elliott? Those are players we're going to discuss a little bit later on. But before we get to all of that, we're going to discuss what we saw this afternoon. And to do that, Larry is with me. Larry, great to see you, my friend. How are you?
Hey, Jake, doing well. Good to be back. I'm ready for the season to begin. And it was an interesting game today with the old Grasshopper. So
Indeed. And we will talk about that in just a second. And quite clearly, I didn't get the memo of the jazzy shirt. So I have come in my rather reserved navy shirt. And Larry, I think reserved is probably the wrong word to
yeah, I like to call it flashy. I figured,
flashy.
starting this is summertime, and I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, so it's got the famous Natty Bows that are from a beer from Baltimore, and Maryland are known for their steamed crabs, and they have the crabs. So it's a nice summer shirt. So I thought I'd give a little flash to the show today.
There we are. And this was £12 from Primark reduced. So
I thought it was one of Greg's shirts that you had from the past.
no, it's not one of Greg's shirts. No, it's a little bit more stylish than that.
Yeah, it is. It is stylish for sure.
Right, to replace Larry's stat attack, we're going to go over to Larry's match reaction from what we saw a little bit earlier on, because I did not watch our riveting pre-season a little bit earlier on, but I've managed to draft a man that did sit through it and watch it. You're a better man than me. So we're now going to head over for Larry's, not stat attack, match reaction for Grasshopper 1, West Ham United 3. And you get a little look at that shirt. Look at that. Larry, fire away.
Yes, thank you, Jake. And like I said, I was itching. I'm itching for the season. I know our transfers coming in have been few and far between, besides the last two that came in. But I wanted to check out and see how we were going to go up against the Grasshoppers, because as we know, at least last season, I don't even think we weren't a friendlier preseason. So I wanted to see how it was, because a lot of times preseason is about fitness and stuff like that. I thought when we came out with the different team that we had out there, it was like a little slow and stuff like that. If anybody watched it on the West Ham FC YouTube, as we know, you had one camera and it's like being in the stands. You couldn't see very much. So it's hard to see the positioning and stuff like that. You could see a lot on the right, I guess the right side, yeah, where Bowen was at, Wan-Bissaka. I saw a lot of quality there. I think it was like at the 12th minute is when Bowen had a nice pass to Andy Irvin. Give him credit. He finished, and I thought he had a good first half when he came out there. Didn't see much of Fulkrug in that game. Didn't see him like getting the ball or anything like that. You couldn't see his total positioning there. One thing I like to see is the quick pace by Wan-Bissaka. The camera angle we had there was really good, so we could see where he was at. After that, I thought the Grasshoppers, didn't really have much of a threat. We gave them a little bit towards the end of the first half, but nothing. Then second half, you got a whole new squad. And in the 46th minute, our young buck, Marshall, was clinical going down there for a nice strike to get that goal, to make it up 2-0. I think we got to about the 60th minute, and then we started in our back final third. And guess who's back there? Mav and a guard. And then we just looked like we were keeping them into the match. And then they actually had a nice solid shot. Nobody picked them up. One of their guys who got, I think it was like, what minute was that? I think it was like their 42nd minute. Nope. That was their 56th minute is where they got their goal, which was a banger. It wasn't too bad, but we were letting them stick into it really too much. Let me tell you something about Doof. Malik. Love this guy. If you watch the passion, the attack, the pressure, he's another. Now I see what Potter's trying to do. You're going to have two strong left and right wing backs. Doof wants to be up front. He attacks. He's way up there. He had some great crosses. One cross, I think, if anybody watched it, there should have been a goal there. So I am, from what I see early on, a young kid, 20 years old, a lot of potential. Like I said, it's good. And then we got a charity goal, a penalty handball. Doof almost got a header in there. Guy did touch his hand. Paqueta did his dance and scored the goal at 3-1. So overall, it's about fitness. Nobody got hurt. And we'll take the 3-1. And guess what? Cornet didn't go off sides. That's a plus.
Wow, that is a plus. Well, to be fair, I had like quite a few questions, lined up and talking points to discuss, and you've pretty much gone through all of them in 2 minutes. So
Well,
that
you
was
let me
very
know.
good.
Yeah.
Well
So
done.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, first preseason game, we put out two different teams to start the first half and second half, and it struck me how there was quite a balance between first team players and youth players. It seemed to me with the lineup for the first half, it was mainly first team players: Ariola, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, Gay Skulls, but Cornet, Rodriguez, every ball pass, both full. That's strong. That's as pretty strong as we get. And then a few more players from the youth incorporated in for the second half: Gilahame, Casey, Diouf, I suppose, Orford, Marshall, alongside the likes of Stuchek and Paqueta. So a good balance again in that second half of youth and first team players. Did it gel, Larry? I mean,
That's an excellent question because it's anything, especially when you're putting all these players together. It's hard to have chemistry if you're not used to playing with the different players in there.
exactly.
Again, the pace was much faster in the second half than it was in the first.
Right.
Kilman and Tadibo can lock it down in our center. They are good. When you brought a guard and Mav, we saw the bad. And that wasn't just them, but in our finals, in our back third, we were turning the ball over so much in the second half, letting the Grasshoppers, which is a funny name, to have a chance to come back. And then he finally got a banger right outside the top of the box that he wasn't picked up. So the chemistry wasn't there. So I was really looking at fitness, effort, and individuality. I saw, like I said, Wan-Bissaka loves the give and goes. He looked good on that far right. Bowen is Bowen. What are you going to do? Nice pass to Andy. Andy, finish it. What did we say last year? We couldn't finish for anything. I know it's Andy Irvin. Wow, he's a fan favorite. I like the guy. So we did that. Second half, a lot of pace. We had a couple opportunities in the box that we didn't finish there. Couple Doof who had three good crosses. One definitely should have been a goal, and then we didn't get it. So the chemistry, it's hard to say right now, Jake, because I don't think you're going to see the same teams to get, the same setup in there. But I saw some good things. I saw some Gourmet. He finally started showing up towards the end of the second. The first maybe 20 minutes, I didn't
I
even
thought you
find
said
him.
gourmet there. I was like,
Well,
gourmet? What, burgers or
yeah,
gourmet?
no, not Courtney.
Oh,
Larry.
sorry,
I don't say his name.
Gilahame. I
Yeah,
thought you meant
no.
gourmet. Then I thought you meant cornet, but no, Gilahame.
I have a terrible time saying his name. But he kind of showed
Gilahame.
up at the end. He started faking out some of his the defenders and the fullback there at the end. But I was disappointed we didn't see much of full Krug at
Yeah.
all. But again, the camera angle, if you guys watched it, it was really hard to watch what was going on. Because I mean, I swear to God, Jake, it was like at this level, and
Oh, right.
it's like you're in the stands and you're filming it on your iPhone or
Yeah.
something.
No,
So
not good. I mean, one obvious talking point, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I didn't watch it, but I can expect, and I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the incorporation of Diouf and the way that we want to play. Now, me and Mike said this on Wednesday night, I think it was, when we spoke about this signing, and we've both seen clips of Diouf, and we all know what Wan-Bissaka is like, and we both basically said what you just said in the sense of it's clear what we're trying to do here. We're going to try and get to lightning, pacey, attacking minded wing
100%,
backs. Wan-Bissaka
100%.
and Diouf. Everybody said about this Diouf that he's very attack minded, and it's very clear we're going to get to, because we need an injection of pace
Yeah.
in the side.
And he's an aggressive guy too. He's not, young guy, but he's aggressive and he's passionate. So I like that. You're going to see pace. You're not going to see that sitting back and passing it back and forth and behind our third back to the goalie.
Yeah.
This guy, he's further up the pitch than
Yeah.
we've seen in a lot of the left backs that we've had there. So I'm happy with him so
And
far.
you've just said a centre back pairing of Mavropanos and a Gerd, and it feels like my mind is just on like a rewind of about 2 years.
100%, Jake. 100%.
Yeah,
That was the
I mean,
same type of
we're going to play a
mistakes.
back five. We're going to play a back five next season for the vast majority. These two wing
I
backs
agree.
are not going to play as full backs because we're just going to get ripped apart. So it's very clear that Potter is enforcing, like he did at Brighton, a back five for next season. That's his stamp. That's what's going to happen. That's pretty clear. So we're going to
100%.
have three centre backs there. Now we've let go Soufal and Creswell, which eradicates the let's play a full back and slot them in at centre half, really. So we're going to be picking three out and out centre backs next season.
Yeah.
You'd like to think it's going to be Kilman, Todibo, and one other. Now, whether
I,
that's going to be Mavropanos, whether that's going to be a Gerd, or whether that's going
yeah.
to be a new signing and we're going to let one of them go, I don't know. But it's that last centre back spot that needs to be filled with clarity, which is just concerning me, Larry.
100% true. And right now, with the money right now for what we spent, and I know you were going to talk about Peters, which was a cheaper,
Yeah,
but he's a backup for them and missing
yeah,
that. We need to sign a midfielders. Midfield's our biggest thing, I think.
yeah,
So who's going to be if we don't, we're not going to sign another center back. I don't see it happening.
no,
So do we? If we don't get the right deal, do we keep them in and then they're interchangeable? Where you try to start always Kilman into Debo, and the other one's like the third link that you kind of got to support. And I'm saying they have their moments, but I mean they have the same thing where they'll make them bad mistakes. So that's a great
yeah.
question. It's a great question. It's something to be concerned about because I'm with you. We're gonna have the back five with these two. I can see left and right wing. Oh my gosh, in attacking, it's
Has to be
good.
brilliant. Has to be
That's gonna be
brilliant.
something special. Something special.
And do you know what? It's the first time I've been excited about the new season because I've envisaged us now. All of a sudden, we've got Diouf at left wing back, and we've got Somerville on the left wing. We've got Bowen on the right wing and Wan-Bissaka, and all of a sudden we have clear outlets on either side. Right before, it felt like last season Wan-Bissaka was carrying everything on his back on him
Yeah.
and Bowen on the right hand side. It felt like it was basically right wing or bust last season. It felt like,
100%. And
and I
then
feel like we're going to get to next season. If we can get Somerville fit and keep him fit and get some link up
yeah.
play with this Diouf, then I think we're on to having, threat from both sides, which will be massively beneficial.
100%, and I'm really keen on. I was always keen on Somerville. That injury was more than people thought. You remember
Yeah.
it lingered for a while. He's not going to the U.S. for the pre-match, but he said he'll be ready to join the team right after that. I think that you hit it right on the head. Now we have somebody fixed as a left winger. We don't have the cutest guy around where we didn't know where to put him. He wasn't going to take the right wing back from Bowen. Period. So I'm not going to talk about him anymore. But then we have that. But I think right now that means whoever plays the up front, full Krug and all that, we got players that are going to feed that ball to him. Like I said, Doof, he had a couple shots there, right? Crosses in there. So we need to make sure that if it's full Krug or whoever is going to be in that spot there, is going to be in that box ready for it. Because, today we had a couple opportunities we couldn't finish, but I'm excited about it because I'm telling you, Jake, this guy is fast too. Oh my gosh, you've seen some highlights and all that, but he was
Yeah.
fast today. And he's excited. He'll get in there, and he's like a young lad, but you can tell he likes to take charge of stuff. Just what I'm seeing. I know it's only a short little snippet of what I saw, but the great thing where the camera was at, you could always see that side. So I saw a lot of Wan-Bissaka in the first half. We got to see a lot of the Doof, our new guy, in the second, and
That's
it was it
good, and
was
that's
it
what
was
we were
good.
crying out for last season was an injection of pace in the side and some
He's got it.
attacking direction going forward. And I think it's a really good sign. Listen, I've been very critical so far of our lack of transfer signings, and it seems like we have finally woken up. And I'm liking what we're seeing. We're going to come on to a couple players that we're linked with that hopefully can fix some of the problems we've been addressing in the last couple of minutes a little bit later on. But just to finish this bit off. We never, as you said earlier, Larry, we never do well in pre-season. It seems to be a bit of a fallacy and a myth at West Ham. We don't need bloody pre-season. We don't do that rubbish. And again, it's sort of been echoed again this season. But the fact is that we've got one new player in the squad. One player, that's it. So we're not utilising the pre-season as well as we could be, absolutely. But we won. It seemed like a decent performance by all accounts. And the midfield is a problem. We know defensively it could be a problem. And the jury stood out on Fulkrug, I think it's fair to say. But there's positives, and we've got to take them away, Larry.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to badmouth Full Crew because I like his
Mm,
passion for the team, the badge.
yeah,
Everybody probably saw a couple of interviews they had with him. He lost a few pounds. He stayed, try to get more in shape, so he's more ready to go. I can see the hunger in him, so I'm always going to count him. It's just today's just one day. He might not got fed the ball or not, but and again, you couldn't see his positioning with the camera angle, so I couldn't tell you really where it was.
yeah.
Cornet, you couldn't tell either. He's on the other side of the pitch that we could see, and he barely got the ball. So. like I said, I'm optimistic because I knew that we're not going to be signing a lot of people. So what we got to do is realize what we have out there is what's probably going to happen. Maybe one or two more players coming in my opinion, that's going to make a difference. The
Yeah.
biggest thing is we lost any depth, and that's where Peters comes in, and he can be the backup because I know we'll talk about it. He can play both sides, left or right. He's got pace, but we still need. I'm telling you, we need midfielders. I think that's
Yeah.
probably our biggest thing.
Absolutely right. Let's see some comments. Then we'll move on to some transfer news. Evening, thank you very much indeed. Well, I've got some fans in. Apparently, I'm the gourmet one, but I beg to differ. I think that Larry's shirt is pretty gourmet, if I do say so
Well,
myself.
I try my best, a little cooking here and there and stuff like that.
I like it. Walker Peters seems agreed. Thoughts on the Grealish links? That is another thing we will discuss very shortly. That is interesting. There's probably going to split opinion, I think, across the fan base. Good to see Potter looking at the young players as well. I mean, that's what struck me when I saw the two lineups for the two separate halves, is that he's getting some youth in there. Maybe because he hasn't got anybody else at this point, but maybe to try and incorporate them in and see and make a decision before the season starts of who he's realistically going to be able to utilise at certain points throughout the season. Skulls used to be CDM. I think we might try him at centre-back with the other two. I mean, and there's also discussions Alvarez can drop in at centre-back. So there's players that can drop in here and there and
Both
help.
good shouts, yeah.
I don't think we're going to sign another centre-back.
No, I don't either.
I think we're going to exhaust our transfer budget elsewhere, and I think that's probably the right thing to do.
I like Mike's comment. I wouldn't mind seeing Alvarez back there as a center back.
Yeah,
To be honest, he's not the fastest guy in the world anyway. So I mean,
no,
but I wouldn't mind seeing him back there.
I do like him in midfield. I think I'm actually more of a fan of Alvarez than most people. I think he's quite solid in midfield, but it would be interesting to see what he's like in that position. Absolutely, I agree. At centre back, more comments. Guido and Souček seem to be the misfits now. He'll stick with Souček. I don't have any doubt about that. But Rodriguez seems to be a bit of a lost cause to us. Was there any indication of any difference in Rodriguez's performance, Larry?
No, he was very aggressive. Like he had penalties. He was pushing around. He was up there. So, but it was the same old Rodriguez. He was out there. I was a little shocked why he was out there in the first place. But I see how what we were trying to do was. I wasn't totally impressed with him. Like I said, it was a friendly, and he was attacking him like it was a regular match, ready to hurt somebody. But I was shocked that he didn't get 2 yellows in that day for a red. But they're not going to do that in a friendly. I'm telling you, he was sliding all over the place.
Oh, right, blimey. Lee, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you very much, Fathead. Mike says, second half, we moved the ball well and at speed. That's what you said, Larry.
100%, Mike. 100%, Mike. Good. Totally agree.
Very good. Very good. Freshfielder, I hope you are well. Thank you much indeed for joining us. So, moving on to transfer news then. Now, you mentioned it earlier, depth is what we need. We've got a pretty solid starting lineup here, but we need to reinforce the depth once again after the likes of Ings, Soufal, Creswell, etc. were let go from the club at the end of last season. Now that begins with Kyle Walker-Peters, and I like this signing, a Premier League proven player at Southampton, probably a shining light at the Saints in a pretty dismal campaign last season, which saw them relegated without a real fight. But a player, again, with a bit of injection of pace, some attacking mentality, and a player that we believe the thought is he's going to fill in both positions, either right back or left back, because he has the versatility for either. So basically a wing back backup could probably go with Skulls. So there's two in each position. There's 4 wing backs, and I think that sorts us out, Larry.
100%. And I think Skiles' days at the under 21s is over. He's not going to be I think he is going to be the backup now up there with and with Walker Peters. Because one thing with all the takeaways that we have left, Crest did a good service to us, Soufal a good service to us, but our depth is really weak. So I think Peters fits in perfectly. Now we know it's just Southampton, but he does have some pace. He played a lot. I think I looked at somebody's show today, 169 games with them. So I think that was a good move. And maybe you guys can educate me in the chat, or Jay can. It's something like they said it was basically a free pickup. I don't know how that works.
So I think he was let go from Southampton. His contract expired at the end of last season. And he was going to Besiktas, and then we just dabbled our foot in and expressed a bit of interest. And Walker Peters said that he wants and would prefer to stay in the Premier
Awesome.
League
Okay.
and would prefer that. So then Besiktas, in a very Besiktas way, put out a very public statement showing what had happened and basically telling him where to shove it,
Gotcha.
because he was basically signed for Besiktas, and he went, whoa, 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 West Ham, you want me, I'll be there. It's basically what happened. And really, to echo what a certain former player has said in the last week, maybe if you test his heart, maybe in his heart is West Ham. I mean,
There you go. Yep.
who knows? Who knows?
No,
Maybe
no.
he only wanted West Ham. Who knows?
Yep. Well, thanks for explaining that. I wasn't sure. Now he's going to be here, I think, a 3-year deal. And then
Yeah,
people were talking that, he's 29 years old. So we're getting some youth back there a little bit compared to that. And I guess since he's from England, it also gives you a check mark for that too. So how many
exactly.
English players on there? So I think that's a win
Indeed.
situation for us.
Especially with the amount of, I mean, we lost Ings and we lost
Yeah,
Creswell,
exactly. Yeah,
both of the homegrown area
100%.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently Spurs wanted Walker Peters back too, but West Ham was in his heart.
I like it. Finally, spuds.
And this also presents the question of Emerson departing the club, because that's the only wing back left. And I deliberately said Skulls at the backup because it's being reported that this will open the door for Emerson to depart the club. How do you feel about that? Because I think he's going to leave, and there's reports saying he's going to leave. He could stay as a sort of Somerville backup and play a little bit more progressively. I think we'll let him go. Larry, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to let him go. I mean, he wasn't even with the club. Is he? And I wasn't sure about that. He wasn't even with the club today. So that
He wasn't, no.
could have been eye-opening and stuff like that on some of the players we have there, because I think someone brought up the youth, and I wanted to bring that up. In the second half, we had Casey on the pitch, Potts on the pitch, Marshall on the pitch. So yeah, the youth's there, but not to change the subject, but I think we're not going to have much of a choice to have some of these quality younger players to be on our bench to support it, because we're not going to have anybody else on there. The Emerson thing, I'm back and forth because I kind of like the guy. He had glimmers of greatness, not greatness, but solid playing for us and up there. So, I don't, but I see he's gonna somebody's gonna put in the right bid for him, and I think he's gonna go.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you on that one. So that's Walker Peters, which we had the Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano, and X has pretty much confirmed it. So we're expecting an official announcement and confirmation of Carl Walker Peters as a West Ham United player in the coming days. Another player that I wanted to discuss is Harvey Elliott, to address the midfield woes, which we have repeatedly mentioned on this show so far. Harvey Elliott, again, another Premier League proven player. There's a theme here, isn't there? Pace and Premier League proven from what Potter's targets seem to be so far. And I like it. It's two of the boxes that I would have been putting right at the top of my wish list this summer. Harvey Elliott couldn't quite and isn't quite breaking into the Liverpool side week in, week out on once regular football, knows the league, did well at Liverpool, and I've spoken to some Liverpool fans about him, and they've been pretty unanimous in their opinion of really
Yeah,
good player. Not quite good enough to start week in, week out in the midfield for Liverpool, but gives it everything, 100% effort, and is a really good player. If we can get him for 30, 40 million quid, I would snap your hand off for it, Larry. I think this would be an excellent signing.
100%. And it's really a shame you can't break into the club who just won the Prem last year, right? So that's going to
Yeah.
show you the competition he's got there. That would be an excellent signing. I think would motivate the fans. It would take care of a need that we have in our midfield. The energy. He's another homegrown boy, right? So I think it would be an excellent signing. But know what I've learned from you, Jake, in the last couple of years of talking is I try not to get too excited about the transfer rumors and
Oh,
stuff like that until it
absolutely.
actually happens. It would be great, but how many times have we had a discussion? I think you and I, on a couple of times, we get frustrated because you get your hopes up so much for something and it never comes to fruition. So,
Yeah.
is it more of a signing, or do you think? And then you'll know the answer probably, and I just don't. So, or a loan. Is it something where we could do either one, or with Elliot? I know Grealish, you're going to do talk about it, but what about Elliot? What's the
Um,
possibilities, options?
I think this week is going to be the big week because we had on Friday, X gave an update, basically along the lines of saying West Ham have been in talks all week, and there is now a hope that a deal can be achieved. That was the wording. Talks will continue over the coming days. See, that was released on Friday, and we all know Sullivan doesn't work weekends, so not a lot would have happened today.
Yeah, 100%.
Not a lot will happen. Nothing will happen tomorrow. This will be revisited on Monday. And the fact that we've had the wording from our top source by saying there is a hope that a deal can be achieved, I think for me to read, within the lines and to infer, I think we're trying to get him permanently.
That'd be great.
But, and there is a but, I think that if they're asking for too much, and I think probably I think 40 million is probably his limit, Sullivan, then we're going to fall back on a loan and go, look, can we have him on loan and let's insert an option to buy to do with appearances or something, or like some sort of obligation or option to buy after this season. I think that's what we'll do. I think we'll fall back on a loan, and I think we'll get him on loan until the end of the season, and then there'll be an option to buy. But if we could get him outright, that's a statement, not only a statement signing. I'll be very impressed. But this week will be the week because we've had the preliminaries, we've sort of inquired, and we've identified that there can be a deal done here. This week is the big week. By Friday, if we don't have any, if we don't have any furthering of it, I can't see it happening. This is the week for it. And I think if we can get this over the line, it revolutionises our midfield, Larry. I mean, you look at it now, everything that we're missing, not work rate, but quality, ball retention, passing, effort, 100%. Skill, intricacy in midfield. It's everything that we're missing in midfield. And like you said, I don't get excited about transfer rumours, but I've got a feeling about this one. I do. We've had it from the reputable sources, and I think it's increased it in my mind because it's a sign that makes sense. Like it makes sense in my head. There's some signings that just don't make sense. When you get a rumour out there, you go, that's just daft. But he wants game time every week. We're going to give it to him. There can be a deal struck, and I really hope we strike it.
Good shout, Jake. I agree. I hope so.
And then, of course, we've also got Jack Grealish, which is another player. It seems like we're trying to attack players that can't quite get in the big teams and try and get them to West Ham. This is a little bit more of an outside chance, I think, for me, Jack Grealish. What do you make of this one, Larry?
Yeah, and I think it would definitely be a loan is what I'm hearing. It would definitely not be a sign. It'd be a loan off to him. But no, I kind of like this dude. I really do. I like I think he would fit into West Ham just right. He's quality. He's got and I know the off the pitch type of things, but he's just got the personality that I think he would fit in really well with us, and he'd motivate the fans and stuff like that. But I think this is another long shot for that. Again, you listen to different channels and stuff like that, then you're like, oh, he wants to come here. Who told you this? I think it would be either one of them would be positive. Elliott would be the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We won't get both. If I did, I'd be shocked. But I would take him. Some people are opposite of me, and I've seen that. Some people don't want to entertain that.
Yeah, I mean, Mandy begs the question: Grealish, where would he play? And there's wages. And listen, I don't think we're going to sign
the wages
Grealish.
Is the problem. No, the wages is the issue.
And it's been stated that there's going to be significant compromises that will have to be made in terms of wages, and that's where the loan comes in. We're not going to sign him permanently. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a loan or nothing, and there 100%. Will have to be an agreement where we don't pay all the wages. There will have to be some subsidy by Manchester City in there, because we're not paying 200-300 grand a week. That's never going to happen. I think this is more of a sort of 7 or 8 to 1. I think Elliott's a 2 or 3 to 1 shot for me.
I hope you're right.
And
I hope you're right.
We'll see. I've got a bit more of a question mark over Grealish, but Elliott, I can see that happening, and I can see that moving pretty swiftly at the start of next week. And by Friday, he might be in claret and blue, maybe. That is what I think anyway. But I mean, there was a lot of negativity at the back end of last season on our review show of the season, a lot of negativity. And there has been pretty much until the last week, there's been a bit of a shift, Larry, in the fan base, I sense. And, there's been some more sensible rumours going around social media. We've got a signing over the line, and we've got a couple close, and it all makes sense. And I think that's the thing that has really bemused West Ham fans through Lopetegui and through Potter last season. None of it made any sense. But as we've identified in terms of the wing backs already, is that people understand and people can see what we're trying to do here, and that's all we want. And I feel quite positive about it. Some final thoughts, Larry, about everything we've discussed.
Yeah, I think the two signings this week, and everybody seems like, and you hit it right on it. It doesn't make sense, or you scratching your head. I think we all agree that it makes sense. And after what Doof did today for Malik, I'm gonna start calling him or Doof
Yeah.
Dog. But after seeing what capabilities he has today, it's just excitement. And Peters is just another backup. So you got to be excited. And plus, if you're West Ham fans like we are and love the badge, we're just excited for the season to start. The players that are out there now, we have no depth. They're not the best squad going for the top, 5 or something, but they're players that we all kind of like and respect to some extent. I know the second half we go in there, I think Math can stick around as a good backup there. I'm always going to cheer for the team. Potter showed himself at the beginning of the second half where he started bringing youth up. Skiles is the perfect example, and I think he's going to be a permanent fixture on the bench and supporting the team for injuries coming up to this year. And then we got there. Marshall showed his stuff there. So I think Potter's smart enough to know that if I don't have the players out there that we signed for Prem, let's try out these youngsters and see what they do. And I think it makes sense. And I think we're going to see more of that, even with whatever signings we have, because we're not going to have blockbusters. We're not going to have another 7 more like we did last year. What was it, like 7 to 9 at the end of the thing? We're not going to see that. So I'm still excited for the season to start, and we'll see what happens.
We most certainly will, and I look forward to it. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for getting involved in the chat. My excitement has increased a little bit more because the other day I was able to check into our flights for Newcastle away. So that
Nice.
for Sunderland away, flying into
Sutherland.
Newcastle. Very excited. Just a 7:05 flight from Bristol into Newcastle, and then we fly home at 8 o'clock the same day. So that is going to be a very long one, and hopefully it's not the inevitable 1-0 defeat to kick off the season. But no, EasyJet have had my money for a flight, and I hope that I will have some entertainment in return. Elliott is a deal which I hope we can get over the line, and it's definitely going to be one to keep an eye on in the coming days. As I said, thank you very much, everybody, for getting involved in the chat. I'm going to go and watch the darts, but until then, from me, come on, you Irons, and Larry,
Come on,
come on, you
guys.
Irons, and we will see you soon right here on West Ham Official. Thank you very much, and Larry, love the shirt, mate. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.
You are welcome.